Absolutely, I can talk about the newborn to 3 month stage. I'm a mom of 9, so I've been through this stage 9 different times with 9 dramatically different children. Everything from easy babies to hard babies. One of the things that I think wasn't talked about enough to me as a new mom was that stage is kind of boring. It doesn't mean that it's not a lot of work. I mean, the interaction with your baby is kind of boring. They don't do a lot. They eat, they sleep, they look at you, they cry. And when they're sleeping, you're worried that they won't wake up. When you're eating, you're worried they're not eating enough or that it's going to give them like a gas. When they're pooping, you're wondering if they're pooping enough. And when they're just hanging around cuddling, you're wondering why they're not sleeping. So the stress of that is a lot. But in reality, what they're doing is pretty boring. Like, they're just not like the fun interactive baby yet. Which, in hindsight, I see that as actually a good thing because it gives you the time to be able to shift gears in your brain to taking care of a little tiny baby before they really have like a big cognitive interaction. Because I like to think about life in seasons. You have spring, summer, fall, and winter. And a lot of people think of new birth, of a new baby, as a springtime, but in reality, there's a portion of your self that's going through a winter. And there's a small amount of grief that you will never know the person who existed prior to knowing that child. Which can be difficult because you're torn between 2 seasons of life. One is this new life that you absolutely adore and you memorize their face and you are so thankful that you have them. At the same time, realizing you're never going to be the same. There is no going back. It's okay to grieve that old part of who you were. It's okay to know that you lived a different life at one point, and the child that you're holding will never know that part of you, other than in stories and in pictures. So a lot of the mental load of those first 3 months is going through both a winter and a spring at the same time, and there's not a lot of seasons of life where you truly have both of those seasons present. And what's so interesting about this season is once it's passed and you look at it in hindsight, you see it all very clearly and you're thinking, why did I have any kind of struggles with that? Why didn't I do this? Why did I do that? Because once it's passed, the fog has cleared and you can truly grow and thrive with this tiny little human. Part is definitely the trickiest part of the whole thing. And every single baby is different. Every single baby sleeps through the night at a different time. Some babies fuss in the middle of the night, some don't. Every baby is different, and it's just up to you having to read your baby. I had one that didn't want to sleep his whole first year of life. It was torturous. Then I had other ones who were great sleepers. And no, how well they slept early in their life doesn't say anything about their personalities later on in their life. I would say the one that expresses himself in the most healthy patterns is the one who didn't want to sleep that whole first year. It's just that he sucked at sleeping. He had to learn it. And while he was learning it, it was just annoying. I think a big thing to remember is that babies crying at that age is because they cannot talk. It doesn't mean they're mad, it doesn't mean they're angry, and it doesn't mean they're resentful. It means they're trying to communicate. So instead of hearing it as a cry, hear it as words, just without words yet. And slowly you'll learn their language. I hope some of that helped.